Yo, what up? What up? I am very excited that I finally get to review this chapter. I've been waiting what feels like forever. Um, I had Brill over the weekend and was not able to uh, actually react to this, so I'm super excited now. Um, thank you guys so much for all the support. Always appreciate it. Um, and I don't know if you saw over on my TikTok page, I need to upload it to YouTube. I have a theory about the three admirals that could change the world when it comes to One Piece and the current predicament that they're in with the world going underwater. Um, So I have that over on my TikTok. So if you haven't seen it, please check it out. I really uh, put a lot of thought into it. So hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Um, And what is up, Lonely? I appreciate you coming through as always. You're a goat. So let's get into this chapter because I have been waiting too long. So started out because I'm reading the officials since it's already out. I figured why not just get it from the source, right? So we got chapter 1127, Adventure in the Land of Mystery. And we have our um, really cool cover story. I know a lot of people are hating on the Yamato cover story, and don't get me wrong, I get it. It has been if you take a look at the other cover stories that we've gotten historically, a lot of people say that other court cover stories have been way more interesting, and I get it. But I think that we need to realize that this one is going to have a payoff, just like all the others. There are some that were kind of boring too, but we eventually got to the point where it all made sense and why we were getting shown it. So let's dive into it. So Ogre Child Yamato's Golden Harvest Surrogate Pilgrimage, the kidnappings weigh heavily on Dogstorm Daimyo of Curry. Okay, that's interesting. I don't think that we knew that he was the daimyo of Curry yet. So, very interesting that we finally got this. Food and eating is a big focus in the cover story. Wano is healing. Yeah. So, I think that we need to recognize that this is interesting because it means that Dogstorm is being like, hey, like I'm upset at the kidnappings and there is a reason. I think it's all leading to something. So let's jump into the first page. If I can get to okay, wait, let's see what's wrong. Right, okay. um it looks like there is a fire on Elbaf or something. It says there's a fire, put it out with spring water. What is that smell? Is it from the forest? If it spreads to Yggdrasil, the world tree, then our country is finished. We should report to the sun god. There's clearly there's some funny business afoot. There's no reason the sting moors would have fallen from the sky otherwise. Did I miss something? I feel like I'm missing something. Hold up here. Okay, so that's that. Okay, no, that's where we're at. Okay. Um, From what those in the forest say, that rumbling earlier was the sound of the ear god collapsing. Interesting. Impossible. That what could possibly cause that Titanic rabbit to fall? Big Stein Castle. Ag, it's still alive. What is with those horrible giant bees? Good morning, Nami. Where are we? Uh, it just looks like Zeus just came out of nowhere and they zapped one of those big bugs. And she says, I don't know. I thought we were riding on the giant's ship. Interesting. The ground still looks like Lego. It still looks like a Lego castle. Come on. Wow, someone come and save me. Luffy, Zoro, Sanji. I'll even settle for Usopp. Am I going crazy? I don't even remember changing. Where am I? Is this a dream? What castle is this? Hey, Nami. Oh, that's Usopp's voice. And she like walks and trips. Wow, what's going on the ground? It's all bumpy because it's like Legos. Yo, that's so funny. Yo, Oda is such a clown, dude. He fucking loves doing this shit because everyone makes always that joke about like stepping on a Lego really hurts. And it's like she did that, but she tripped on a Lego. And that's so funny. Oda just loved to be clowning. And then there's like a bear thing, and she's like, "What? It's huge." And it's like, "Pwee," and just like fucking, all of a sudden, just like spikes out. It must be like a hedgehog or a porcupine. And it says, "Yeah, wait, sorry, I didn't mean to startle you. Usopp, where are you? I'm down here." He's like, "Save me! You're supposed to save me. What is that monster?" It says, I'm in trouble over here too. What is this? Some kind of castle of monsters? Mm. Yeah, actual insanity is going on. Yeah, 100%. And she's like, extend Zeus. And Zeus is like, I can do that. And it's like, wee. But then she's like, I'm gonna fall. And Zeus goes, whatever, just zap it. And it's like, Wah. And then she falls and bounces off the cat and it says "Bwee," and then the hedgehog falls and lands on the cat and literally just electrocutes it, and Usopp falls out of his mouth. They're like, what? What are we doing here? Okay. And then Nami and Usopp go, I have a bad feeling about this. Me too. And then the cat looks so pissed. And they start running. Yo, I love Usopp's Elbaf fit, dude. He looks so good. And it says, what have you figured out so far, Usopp? Same thing as you, right? I woke up and I was here. I remember we were getting drunk on the giant ship. And then now he says, that's right, that alcohol. Didn't he say it would make us hallucinate? And then you get like a flashback and it says, the spirit is known, excuse me, as the great, is the green fairy. And they're like, ah. And then all of a sudden it says, it's a dead end. Ah, we're so high. You mentioned hallucinations, Nami. Maybe that means this cat is just a vision and it isn't really there. Huh? It spins, hallucinations can't hurt me. And then all of a sudden it just like just fucks Usopp up. Holy shit. And she's like, Usopp. And then the cat's just like destroying the castle. And as they're falling, Nami's like, Usopp. And they're like, yeah. And then it says huff, huff, growl, ugh. And then Nami sees Usopp on the ground and says, why is it a lion now? We're done for. Usopp, get up. Open your eyes. We're about to die. And the lion's growling and it says, don't use me as a shield. And then all of a sudden, you hear, "Mm, oh, Nami." And then she's like, hmm? And then we see Sanji. Yo, what? For the crime of making my beloved cry to death, freet Yambe. And then all of a sudden, Luffy says, here for Gum Gum Elephant. And then we see Three Sword Style Black Rope Dragon. And the lion is just like yelling. And then it says Twister, Whip, Strike. And she's like, Nami's eyes are popping out of her head. It's like, yeah. And the cat, like the dog, just like, and all of a sudden it like just swirl. It says like swirl, and then all of a sudden it turns back into a cat from a lion. Interesting. And then we get to see Zoro and Luffy's Elbaf fit. And Zoro looks at it and says, the heck? It turned into a cat. And says, I'll pass on this one. That roast rabbit earlier was tasty enough already. And it says, hee hee hee. And Luffy says, there's some other huge creatures around too. If they taste good, it's worth the trouble to whoop them. And then Zoro says, finding the sea and our ship comes first. Yo, I like Sanji's fit too. It looks tough. And this is Nami, you had me worried. I was so scared, Sanji. Poor Usopp is dead. This is alive. I'm alive. And I'm going to remember that you used me as a shield. And then Zoro says, we don't know how the rest of the crew is doing. And Sanji says, speaking of food, what about that hive and all those bees you knocked out? That's a respectable food source. Honey's very nutritious. And it says, not again. Why are you all so comfortable here? Where are we? Is that it already? Whoa, this chapter does feel short. This is kind of crazy. Hold on a second. Let's go back here for a sec. Okay. Dang. I guess those double spreads really take up a lot of the space because I mean there really wasn't that much going on in the chapter. It was like a lot of different stuff happening, but like nothing that was absolutely insane. But it they are on Elbaf, that is for sure. I feel like a lot of what we were thinking was like, oh, who knows where they're at. But yeah, this seems like Elbaf. So my thoughts on this are this really looks like the fact that they mention Yggdrasil, like the world tree. That's super interesting because that's like a big thing in the like the Viking mythos. The world tree is actually supposed to connect like all of the realms, like Midgard and all that other stuff. So like that's super interesting. Off rip. Um, and thank you so much, Velicor and Boss Luffy. Appreciate you guys liking the live over on the TikTok. Appreciate everyone in the YouTube as well. Please like, follow, comment, do all the good stuff. Um, but I appreciate you guys. So the fact that they mentioned the Yugihill tree, and it's something very interesting that they said um, that we should report to the sun god. That's a very interesting thing to say because like Luffy act like is the sun god, right? Like that's kind of like where like it's interesting that they are saying that. And then they were like that rumbling earlier was the sound of the ear god. It's like they're using all of these things to basically they call everything gods. Like um so that's interesting as well. Um it says Big Stein Castle is where they're at, it seems. Um and I know someone had said it definitely was not original to me that they thought that Loki um was like or Loki's son was actually like had like a Lego castle and he like found them and put them in his Lego castle and that is where they are currently, which would be super interesting. Um, and we might that'll probably be what we see next chapter is just like the whole thing where we're like someone comes along and is like what because like this is probably like a common house cat and but it seemed to like bulk up for some reason to like a lion, which was interesting after it got hit almost like yeah, because like as you see it like comes through and then it falls down and then all of a sudden it like gets bigger and it turns into a lion. It kind of reminds me of like the minks and how they go Sulong, um, which was very interesting. Because it's almost like the next stage of a cat would be like a lion, which is just technically a bigger cat. Um, I'm wondering, you know, what happens to some of those other animals. And Velicor in the TikTok chat said there was no hint of Chopper. If someone took them from the ship to get the sun god, maybe. They believe Chopper was the sun god since they have animal gods. That would be super interesting, right? I like your thought process there. So what I would think is there's a good possibility if this like cat or even are in Elbaf or maybe there's something similar to if you remember back in Strong World, there was like that gas and the things they basically were pumping all of the animals up with like crazy like evolutionary drugs and it would like take a normal like ant and it would turn it into like a warrior ant and like all those warrior ants like ended up like killing fish and stuff like that. Then there was like giant gorillas and all this other stuff like it just forced evolutionary changes in them, and that's similar to how I feel about this, right? Because we have the cat, and the cat, like, basically made the jump from being the cat to a lion. But then when it got beat, it like evolved back, almost like it was a fucking like a Digimon. Like after it got beat, it turned into its like base form again. Um, so very, very interesting. That this type of thing would happen. Um, so I really do like this. I think this is great. Um, uh, so yeah, I think that this is super dope. Having Chopper be a god again, like this goes back like to my theory on TikTok that Chopper is the forest god. It would be like another like hint towards that because you know if they kidnapped him or grabbed him thinking like oh this is you know another animal god it could very well be that that's Oda foreshadowing along with all the other stuff that hints at him being at least like a god fruit. Um yeah, so like it would be super interesting to see that, and I'm very excited to see how they do next chapter because this is absolutely bananas. I do love the fits. Zoro looks fucking tough, dude. And so does Sanji and Luffy. Honestly, one thing that kind of stood out to me is when you see Luffy, he says Gear 4, then Gum Gum Elephant, and then his next one would be Gum Gum Elephant Whip. Um, because it would be uh black black rope dragon twister because he's doing like the twister motion. The strike would be for Ifrit Jambi. Ifrit Jambe. Um and but what's interesting is Luffy here, it almost seems like a translation mistake. Um because it says gear 4, but it's just gear 3. And what's interesting is you see Luffy with just the smile, almost like he's kind of like in between forms. So that's the things that caught my eye. I wonder if the TCB scans has a slightly different translation to see if they also have it. Bellicor says, if evolution is a theme, will it be applied to humans at least as well, at least to Usopp? I actually do believe that. So I think that it would be insane to not think that Usopp is going to get a big power up. So hold on, what does it say? We need to report this to the Great Sun God. Okay, so it's still the same here. Giant B, Zoro, Sanji, blah blah blah. So interesting, interesting. Um, So yeah, it attacks, it fell, turns into a lion. Um, yeah, so even in TCB, they have like this almost word for word translation. It's very interesting. This is Gear 4 Gum Gum Elephant Whip because that's not the move that he seems to be using here. So that's kind of wild. Um, Yeah, it says Into the Unknown cover and color spread upon return break week next week. Okay, yeah. So I think that this definitely will have like an evolutionary thing on it. And it could be right, all based upon Elbaf's like food and what they do um as like their nutrition and stuff like that. Like they gave Luffy some of that food and it like perked him right up. Um, and they have often stated that the Elbaf food has lots of nutrients and stuff like that. What if it also happens to have something very interesting as far as like invoking evolutionary changes? I mean, look at the giants themselves, you know. Giants are basically, you know, like they have this Viking culture, but they're just regular in terms of like, you know, physiologically. Um, so it could be that the food or even something else could have triggered this type of change in people. I wonder if this is a hallucination and the person hallucinating doesn't know Luffy's transformations. So I don't think this is a hallucination. I know a lot of people said that. A lot of people were saying that this is all an illusion because Luffy's power basically, if he imagines as he's hallucinating that these things are happening, they will literally happen. Um, so I don't really jive with that too much as far as what is taking place here, but I will say it would be an interesting concept, right? Like I think that that would be a really cool concept. But yeah, I think Zoro looks tough. Honestly, I could do without the goggles. They kind of Luffy looking like a straight G. Sanji though. Sanji's like knight in shining armor thing is awesome. I love the way it looks. Um, I don't think it's a hallucination either. Just thought it was. If it was, it makes me want to keep an eye out for inconsistency. Yeah, and like it would be very interesting because like, if Luffy thinks let's just say Luffy did think like, oh, cats and lions are basically the same thing. So like, changing one to the other would be like no big deal. And then once they're beaten, it's like, oh, he goes back. But um yeah, I don't think so. I love that, you know, all this is happening. I also love that there's all when they fell, there's a bunch of other skulls and bones under, which means that like they're not the first person to be put in this like Lego castle, um, and kind of deal with the stuff. Yeah, I don't like Zoro's mask. I think it looks kind of dumb. Dude does not need goggles. He's also like, he's got like a scar over his eye and that makes him look tough as hell too. So it's like having goggles over top of that as well, just kind of like but the rest of it looks dope. Yeah. Even I love Usopp and Nami's as well. I'm very excited to see how Chopper looks. But yeah, no, I really like this. I think it looks great. Um, it's just, like we said, a little teaser for what is to come. And I will say there are some people that said Cheeky is going to be on Elbaf. This is a really cool little, hint towards what Shiki was doing in Strong World, with making these, uh, animals bigger and evolve in certain ways. Because that was like his whole diabolical plot was to get the animals to destroy the village and then use it to like kind of take over the world. So the fact that they have these, buffed up animals that are almost like evolving is super interesting. And them putting like odds on a uh like animals on a pedestal like that, having Chopper would be crazy. And this could be the source of like Chopper's next power up. Like we think, oh, Usopp's the only one, or maybe, a few others, but like this could definitely be a Chopper arc. It could be a whole Straw Hat arc, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if Elbaf is the last arc that they get super great power up, and then the final, road to Lodestar, Laugh Tale, Marie, all that stuff is after this, after they get these serious power ups. Um, Lego houses for Vikings who fight all the time would be easier to rebuild. That's true, but it seems like the places where they are, like the castle that they're at, is to their scale. Like we're just kind of seeing like because nothing's like super big there in my opinion. Like the normal like walkways and stuff like that, they kind of look like they could be for regular sized people. Like the stairs over here on the one page um look like um look normal. So to me, this is definitely like a Lego play castle, and this is probably in a giant's house. Um, yeah, I would love to see them all get some experience and strengthening. Yeah, 100%. They definitely need the strengthening right now. Like they're heading into this final thing. We just saw, and what's really great about this is like we just saw where a lot of the Blackbeard pirates are and red hair pirates are in terms of strength, or at least pretty, some of them. Um, we saw what Van Auger could do, kind of like he warped, and he was fighting Law and was like kind of helping. And then we got to see Yasop blow up a whole ship with just like, very nonchalantly. So like every one of them needs something more. So this would be a great time. Like even, you know, the other Straw Hats, like where right now they have a Vegapunk. Once they get here, then they can start looking, Frankie can start upgrading his stuff. And things like that. So I don't know. It's got me really excited. I'm not gonna lie. I think that this break week is well deserved, um, especially for Oda to give us a little bit of time to breathe with this and be like, damn, we finally made it to Elbaf. Like that's in my mind, that's crazy. I feel like I've been watching for so long and I've been reading for so long, like 20 plus years, and I basically got to the point now where I've been hearing about Elbaf ever since, you know, the Little Garden. Oh, so this is definitely my uh this has me very excited. Um so yeah, this is super cool. I'm excited for this. I'm also excited to see the other Straw Hats get to Elbaf, um, and then eventually meet back up. So um I think sizing is going to be the biggest point of contention here because when Nami fell, she was smaller than one brick. Mm, yeah, most definitely. Because it definitely looked like, when she was falling, it was shit was kind of going bananas. Honestly, before the end of Wano, Oda hardly took breaks. With the success of the live action, he takes them to oversee its production. Yeah. And I'm excited for that. I really like the casting of Joe Manganiello and Lyra Abova. Um, yeah, he's not actually taking a break. I know the dude is a workaholic, and I love every bit of it. But I hope that he is taking care of himself. That's all I'll say on that. Um, but yeah, so let's talk about it. All right, so this chapter to me, um, they both look perfect for their roles. Yeah, 100%. I love Joe Manganiello for Crocodile. He's spot the fuck on in my opinion. And yeah, I just cosplayed Crocodile at Anime NYC, and it was awesome, and I loved every bit of it. It was so cool seeing all the other crocodiles, and like I just think that him being as tall and big as he is and everything else, he looks the part. And Lyra Bova is spot on, and she just seems so excited for the role. So I'm very excited for that. Um, Showing him and Buggy on stage was smart. Yeah, when they did like there's no need to get cross, we're kind of like a guild. I was like, that's fucking dope. Because he's gonna be such a recurring character if the live action does exactly what they're kind of supposed to do with his character. Um, so anyway, the cover story, you know, um, it is kind of meh right now, but I do think it will pick up. Oh yeah, Oda's notes. Caught Jun Matsu Naoto Takayama in Sai Sankaku is very interesting play, and I know about the story. Okay. The so the mention of the world tree, fucking awesome. Um the big bugs, and then talking about the sun, talking to the sun god, and then the actual just showing of Nami being like so confused on what's happening. it's super cool. Um, and I really like it. I also just love the Usopp fit and everything. This kind of like just showing like the introduction as far as like showing these animals and stuff like that was very interesting. It was super cool. I like the callback to obviously the absinthe, um, and how big the castle looks in comparison to them. Um, like Usopp finally having like a brave moment, like it's just an illusion, and then just like kind of getting fucked over, was hilarious to me. It was like the one time he should have just kept being a coward. He wasn't, and that's just hilarious. Um, the evolution of the animal is very interesting. Like I said, it gives me strong world vibes. It gives me, you know, interesting thoughts on what the animals would do here. In fact, honestly, it makes me really wonder how minks in general would deal with something like this, and if the minks can evolve like that. Um, so very interesting. Love the Elbaf fits for the monster trio, as well as Usopp. I love the like fake beard thing he got going on, and Nami looks great. Like I said, mask stupid, but uh, I really do like Zoro's fit. Other than that, so it does seem very interesting, and we're getting a break at the perfect time. We just hyped it up to Elbaf, and now it's like, okay, now that we're saying Elbaf is Elbaf, we're here, you know, let's get into it. So overall, this chapter really didn't have that much. It was relatively short as far as I'm concerned. It felt short, but it was pretty good. I really liked it. I would give this like a 6.5. It really didn't give us too much besides for what we believe to be there, or what we know now is they are on Elbaf. Um, and shit's kind of going bananas. So it gave us a lot of thoughts, and a lot of um stuff to think about over the course of this coming break week. So I'm pretty excited for it. But yeah, like I mean, like I said, there wasn't too much, just enough get us kind of thinking, kind of talking about this type of stuff. Um, but yeah, I would say like 6.5. Um, the double spreads were pretty dope. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on that. Um, so I have been working on a theory that I plan on fully fleshing out over this next weekend. Um, and I will be making a TikTok about it and then probably porting it over to YouTube as well. Um, so if you like what I'm saying, you like what I'm spitting, please like, follow, do all the good stuff, and be ready for this theory coming out over next weekend. Because it has to do with what truly happened to Emu and Lily. Um, I've been working on this for a little bit. I've been thinking about it. I thought about it last night a lot and stuff like that. I got to do just like a tiny bit more research, but it really just, I have my thoughts on what might have transpired between them. But yeah, so that is that is my full thoughts on it, and be ready for more content. I appreciate everyone over in the TikTok. Thank you very much, Velcor, for being here. Miguel and Lonely, appreciate you as well. Thank you guys so much. Please, if you like the video, if you like the live, please, share it to someone, and subscribe, follow, and be ready for more, because I also plan on reviewing I think the 3 chapters of JJK that I haven't read yet. Um, because I just like to let him build up for a little bit. Um, so yeah, and um, I also have a Fortnite clip that I'm definitely gonna be um uploading to TikTok and YouTube as well. That's just like a dumb win that I got that I feel like somebody needs to see it. But yeah, thank you guys so much, and I can't wait until, you know, 2 weeks from now. So that way we can be, fresh out of a nice new chapter and finally get some development in Elbaf, because I guarantee this arc will be everything that we want it to be, and probably more. So, thank you guys so much. Appreciate you guys coming through. Thank you for all the love, and I will definitely see you next time.